Sometimes when I say jokes, like, you gotta be with it. You know what I mean? We're not synced up. We're not synced up, and I don't like it. Let's hear from Karine Jean-Pierre, because she went on for like 3 minutes, and the full video is actually way worse than the Fox News shortened version, where she tries to engage in, again, one of the worst defenses I've ever seen of this, especially at a time when, like, the major point of contention is that Brandon does not have his cognitive functions intact, that his cognitive functioning is impaired. Oh, here it is. Thank you. Chatter, you found it.
Look, I got this question last week as well, and I'm just going to say what Dr. O'Connor, it's kind of what he said to me about a year ago when the report came out last year, obviously on his physical, which is the president proves every day how he operates.
He proves every day how he operates, which is weird that I'm saying that, because every single day when he operates, people are like, oh God, his brain is mush. Oh no, his brain is definitely not fine. That's what he's proving. So I don't know if that's a good thing to say here.
How he thinks, right? But by dealing with world leaders, by making really difficult decisions on behalf of the American people, whether it's domestic, whether it's national security. And so he shows it every day on how he thinks, how he operates. And so that is how Dr. O'Connor sees it, and that's how I'm going to leave it.
What do you think about the idea of taking that kind of a test?
I believe, for me, you're asking me my personal opinion, he is sharp. He is on.
Just cook the books, man. Get like a Trumpian style doctor to come in. Like, you know, the most alcoholic military doctor that they could find, like Dr. Feelgood, who was like, Trump is so sexy. His penis is 13 inches. Okay. He's got a thick 8 was the previous reporting on the matter, but I'm here to tell you he's got a thick 13. That's right. We don't even know how that's possible. I'm a doctor and I'm a reputable medical professional. Remember when Trump's doctor literally was saying like he could live to the age 200 and his arteries were not filled to the brim with what I assume is lard from direct McDonald's consumption? Like, why can't the Brandon regime do this? Okay, you're so powerful. The Brandon regime is so powerful that it's investigating its political rivals. Okay, why can't you just find a fake doctor? Get the same doctor and be like, Joseph Robinette Brandon, sir, let me tell you something, okay? Joseph Robinette Brandon, he did the man-woman TV camera thing so hard my head spun. I have dementia now because I couldn't comprehend how good he was at his age, at his young age of 874. He was able to nail that test so hard. It's like, it feels like he has a Benjamin Button disease. His brain is actually too young. He's doing Brian Johnson shit, okay? His penis, also young. His penis is basically underage at this moment, and his brain, on the other hand, overage, but under the age of 874, which is how old he is. For those throwing up huhs, I'm talking about that rich guy who's like, I've de-aged my penis. Oh, it is Brian Johnson. Yeah, I was right, dude. Here. My nighttime erections are now better than the average 18-year-old. Last night was 175 minutes. Here's the data. Nighttime erections are a biomarker for cardiovascular, physiological, and sexual health. Sometimes when I say jokes, like, you gotta be with it. You know what I mean? We're not synced up. We're not synced up, and I don't like it. Being fully torqued for 175 minutes sounds like a punishment. Yeah, I mean, it's like closing in on the amount of hours that you're not supposed to have an erection for. It literally is like getting close up in the territory of, you know, rhino dick pills and shit. Whoa, wait, what? Putin says he'd rather have Biden as president than Trump. He's more experienced. He's predictable. He's an old school politician. He doubts Biden's age makes him incapable. When they met Biden was nothing of the sort. Who of us hasn't banged their head on something? Putin says he didn't like the Tucker Carlson interview because it was too soft. I honestly thought he would be aggressive and ask tough questions. I wanted that because I would have given tough answers back. To be frank, I didn't get much pleasure from this interview. Tucker Carlson is literally just a cum rag. That's my take on the on the Putin interview. If you want to know what my perspective is, Tucker Carlson was literally a cum rag that was cummed inside of and thrown aside. He literally fucked him and sucked him. Well, didn't even suck him, just fucked him. Okay? And just made fun of him to his face. Like, imagine flying out there with your asshole puckered, interviewing a dude who was waging an insane war, giving him sloppy toppy for everyone to see, only to have the guy make fun of you during the process, and then turn around and after the fact be like, yeah, he didn't even suck me hard. He sucked me too hard. It was not even entertaining to me. That's crazy. Ay, ay, ay. Not that it matters, because I think Putin just cares about getting clout off of this. Tucker Carlson saying Moscow, Russia is nicer than any city in the United States during a speech in Dubai. Here comes the media meltdown round 2. Tucker says traveling to other countries over the past week has been radicalizing. What was radicalizing, very shocking, very disturbing for me was the city of Moscow, where I'd never been, the biggest city in Europe. It's so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. If you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid in New York City because it's too dangerous, you should have some sort of wonder, what is the measure of relationship?
What was radicalizing, very shocking and very disturbing for me was the city of Moscow, where I'd never been, the biggest city in Europe, 13 million people. And it is so much nicer than any city in my country.
Moscow is the biggest city in Europe? Is that what he just said? First of all, excuse me, maybe not considered in Europe, but should be considered in Europe, I guess. There's another city I can think of that's bigger than Moscow. That's number one.
I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the US government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. Its architecture, its food, its service, than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of it.
When I was in Russia in 2018, a random dude I was having a drink with said, Moscow is like prostitute, pretty with makeup, but dirty where you don't look. Lamau, sexist but true. That is the most Russian thing I've ever heard in my life.
And if you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid to in New York City because it's too dangerous, you have to sort of wonder, like, isn't that the ultimate measure of leadership? And that's true, by the way, it's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow. I didn't know that, I've learned it this week, to Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Because these cities, no matter how we're told they're run and on what principles they're run, are wonderful places to live that don't have rampant inflation, where you're not going to get raped.
Wow, dude, I can't believe that Russia has a functional, working public transit system. Surely this was not around during the USSR. Certainly that is not a, that's working off of the skeleton of the USSR foundational public transit system. And also, you complain about like how beautiful the city is in Moscow, which I'm certain it is. I mean, come on. And yet you then turn around and advocate for all the positions that render it impossible to have similar shit in America. What is wrong with you, man? None of these Chinese cities have these safety problems he's describing. What would you say about China? To be fair, I don't know. After that Putin interview, he was like kind of forced to glaze up China too. So maybe he would be pro-China as well now. I don't know. I guess it's a matter of like who is buttering his bread, if you know what I'm saying. It's kind of that more than anything else. Jank dropped the campaign ad. He texted this ad to me. Apparently this campaign ad's going viral on TikTok. That's what he said. Yeah, dude, look at this. He's got 53K likes on this first official campaign ad. Here's the Jank ad that he made, apparently. Hashtag Jank for America.
We get all the sandwich stuff for the kids' lunch. They don't like turkey anymore.
Yeah, I know.
What about the bananas?
Yeah, I got them too. But, honey,
What?
you're gonna have to put those eggs back.
They don't like eggs anymore?
No, they like eggs, but we have to set that $7 aside for killing Palestinians.
What? I mean, don't we give Israel $4 billion a year anyways?
Yeah, and now we're giving them another $14 billion. Do you know how much that is per American taxpayer?
No.
It's like $85 per person. Apparently it's costing us a lot of money to drop bombs on Gaza.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Don't they get universal health care too?
Yeah, they do. We're paying for that too, probably. Might as well put the bananas back.
Why the do we have to pay for all of this?
Don't cuss at me.
I'm Jank Huger, and I approve this message. Let's save lives.
That's a solid ass ad, baby. Reactionary bait? What do you mean? That's a great ad. It's reactionary bait in the best goddamn way possible. I find the per person in taxes shit to be so dumb, though. Conservatives use it all the time, and it makes no sense. Sorry I'm being an annoying nerd about it. I just don't think it behooves the left to use it when it's convenient. No, I think it's great. It's a great way to make people understand personally what like the amount of impact that money could have. Obviously, that's not how these things work at all, but it doesn't matter. What matters is $14 billion is going to Israel to do ethnic cleansing.